Hey y'all, quick note. While My Hero Academia was created for kids, this podcast is not safe for work or children. All trigger warnings and spoilers for each episode can be found at our website, myheroanalysis.com. Thanks for listening.
Hey y'all, welcome to a very special episode of My Hero Analysis. Today, we are mining not just serotonin from this children's cartoon, but also dopamine, adrenaline, and probably several other molecules I don't know the name for. We're going to start now that we have solved our technical issues.
Oh God.
The internet is being very rude to us, but we're not going to let it get in our way. So we're going to start with just like a little bit of housekeeping. I'm going to try to make this as not boring as possible because it is a lot, but we want y'all to be clear on what's going on in the next few episodes as we head into 2022. So in the season one wrap up, we recorded it before the new chapters that basically made the fandom explode. So we didn't change anything because it's really funny, but I believe we have added a disclaimer that kind of lets y'all know like what's going on in it. And also for episode 14, which is the first episode of season 2, I believe it did drop after like one of the twisty chapters. So we've done.
Yeah, it dropped in the middle of all that when people thought one thing, but there was actually something else going on.
Yes, exactly. So we like, as of these notes, our plan is to post 2 versions of episode 14. One that is going to include like all the feelings and all the names that we were having at the time of the recording.
We were not careful about our spoilers because we were feeling very emotional, and we didn't think to take into account that like some of our listeners may not be reading the manga. So
yeah, we also did not take into account.
We went back and edited.
Yeah, we also did not take into account the fact that we had very little information about what was actually happening. So that episode is very spoilery, but we are also releasing a non-spoilery version of that episode with all of that cut out for our listeners who aren't caught up on the manga and who have also successfully managed to avoid the internet exploding over the last 4 chapters. Y'all, it was only like 4 chapters. It's bonkers.
It was literally this entire month.
Yep. All right. Housekeeping out of the way. If you don't like spoilers, like me, I'm Nicole, by the way, we are now going to be spoilery. We understand if you don't want to listen to this episode, we would love you to put it on mute and let it play so we can get numbers. But now, after all that spiel, we are today on this lovely New Year's going to be talking about the UA Traitor reveal. It has happened. It is dropped. We are talking about everything up through chapter 338, which is as of this recording and like as of the weekend of New Year's will probably be the most recently released chapter, at least for English audiences. But it's fine. It's fine. We are talking about what we think is, what we're pretty sure is the like resolution following the reveal and the twists of the UA Traitor plotline and identity. It's a lot, y'all. We've been screaming about it a lot. If y'all have been listening to the Catch the Fuck Up episodes, but now we wanted to do a roundup. We wanted to bring Maria in. Just we want to talk about it more, and y'all don't have a choice in listening to it. I mean, you do, but you don't. So welcome to 2022, which is also the projected final year of My Hero Academia. So this is all very fitting, and it is all very sad.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Fern. I'm in denial. I'm just not going to worry about it ending. I've already had that like little talk with myself late at night when I finally realized that things were coming to a close and like the dread set in. And I'm like, you know what? No, we're not going to worry about it. Skipping over it entirely.
I will take on your dread because I feel it in my calf muscles for some reason.
Oh God.
I love this energy. Hey, y'all, it's Maria, and I have been fully aware of everything that's been going on in the manga because I don't care, and am not in denial because I'm already broken. So I was fully expecting this. Also, for most of this episode, I will just be the voice of comfort. And we'll be sitting back and watching the fireworks as Fern and Nicole release all their pent up frustration at this point. So I'm just here for the tea.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of tea.
Oh my God, there's so much tea. All right. So just a little bit before we dive into the actual reveals, a little bit of news for the property itself. As mentioned above in my horribly long spiel, we did get confirmation a few days ago, as of this recording, that Horikoshi has like planned and projected that the story itself will be like finished and released in a year's time. So like at the end of 22, the manga will be finished for now. That's not saying plans might change, other stuff might come up, but yeah, 2022 is looking like it's going to be the last year for new My Hero Academia manga content. For the anime, there has also been a little bit of news. We still don't have an actual date, which I need from my planner. But we got confirmation that rather than it being like an early spring release like it was for 2021, season 6 will be premiering in the fall of 2022. So we are sad that time is cruel, but we also want the creators to take the time they need to give us the best product possible and also to take care of themselves. So no hating on the creators here.
Yeah, they've got a lot of like really complicated scenes to somehow animate. I don't know how they're going to do all that. Godspeed.
Yeah. I don't know either. I'm just thinking back. I'm sure they're going to nail it, but also it's so much. Well, as Fern would say, we're going to leap right into it, and we are just going to kind of cover the groundwork of these like 4.5 chapters. If you want a little more details on like page by page, you can go listen to the Catch the Fuck Up episodes. Those episodes are also a little more visceral, a little less methodical. So if that's your jam, go for it.
We call that mini series, it's like the neglected middle child. We just send it out however it comes out.
Yeah, we don't try and polish it or anything. We just scream and hope the audio comes out good.
And sometimes it very much does not. Apologies for chapter 337.
It's fine. It's like we had a lot of feelings on that chapter. I don't care that it's not a good audio quality. They'll be fine. There's a transcript. There's always a transcript. Y'all can read as you listen. Okay. We're going to start with chapter 335 titled Zygotes. So this chapter was supposed to just be the ending and consequences of the Star and Stripe versus Shigafo battle. We did not know what we were getting into when we started Catch the Fuck Up. We swear to every power out there.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about hot buff ladies.
Yes.
Because I thought Star was really hot and I had feelings about it. And now look where we are.
Yeah, no, okay. After that fight, basically, after all that wrapped up, the kids are at UA doing their adorable training thing. Katsuki does call AFO nutsack face, and it's amazing. And it was overshadowed, but it's amazing.
Oh my God, I fucking lost it.
Yeah, we lost it for like a good 10 minutes.
Finally, that is canon. That's been canon for so long.
And then we like pan back to AFO and the League, and they're like in a cave for some reason, and he's doing his like aggravating narration and villain monologue, blah, 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 blah. And he's essentially telling them that he has so many plans. It's like beyond plans A through Z. He's also got like plans Alpha through Omega and every other alphabet. It's annoying.
Yeah, I hate that they confirm that he's actually smart. I really just wanted him to be like ultra privileged, but ultimately stupid and forget something obvious. But no, they had to make him competent, which,
how dare we get a well-rounded villain who's good at his job. And then like at the very end of that spiel, which is the end of chapter 335, we supposedly found out that it was none other than Hagakure, who was one of his friends, aka the UA Traitor. And basically the chapter ends with like no context or information. It's just a panel of Hagakure with the narration from AFO saying he has friends. And the assumption that we all made is that Hagakure was, in fact, one of his friends. So everyone is freaking out and everyone is speculating wildly on what the fuck at the end of chapter 335.
Including us. Like literally everyone was fooled.
Yeah. So like for an entire week, everyone was convinced that Hagakure was the traitor, like us included. Fern and I were going through all the theories. We were reading the wiki to like put the pieces together. We even like alluded to it in episode 14, which is why we're releasing 2 versions.
Yup.
Oh, it was great. I had a lot of feelings. So folks who won't be spoiled or who don't mind spoilers are going to love me being just completely clueless. It's great.
We were all clueless.
Oh yeah. But spoiler, Hagakure herself was the fake out. She was the red herring.
Oh my goodness.
It was really funny knowing what was going on for days, because I found out 4 or 5 days before the chapter dropped. Google spoiled me accidentally. It knows me too well. But I was like, oh, okay, cool. Not the first time in anime or manga that their betrayer has been part of a class, so this is fine. As I calmly watched the entire fandom lose their collective shit.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of the My Hero fandom, well, I don't want to say a lot, but a good chunk of it is probably folks like me who are kind of adjacent to the anime world and who have used My Hero as like the entree into it. So we're like getting all these emotions. Anime. Yeah, we're getting like all these emotions without any sort of like precedent or predetermination of what to expect. So we're all just like,
Oh, it's so funny. In my head, I'm just like, poor, sweet, innocent children. Poor, sweet, innocent children. You have no idea.
We really didn't.
Anime and manga can destroy you. Okay, that is my dramatics for the day.
Okay, so with that dramatics, we were so very young. So we go right into the next chapter, number 336. This one is titled Villain. I'm just remembering myself reading that chapter, and I was reading it with my hand over my mouth like a Gen Z stereotype. So in that chapter, we get like a little training montage, which was really cute. But then we like pan back to Hagakure and like where she is or where she was at the end of the last chapter, which turns out to be in the forest that's like around UA. And she seems to be acting suspicious. Like she's up to something. And she's not with the rest of the class. So you go into it being very suspicious of her. But it turns out that she's actually just eavesdropping on another conversation. And it is revealed. I'm just picturing Horikoshi giggling as we all read it. It is revealed that she is actually not AFO's friend. She is not the traitor. She is actually eavesdropping on the real traitor. And the real traitor is Aoyama.
Yeah, cue everyone's hearts breaking all over again.
Yeah, hearts breaking, screaming, shrieking utterly. Also, he is not fucking happy to be the traitor. He does not want to be a traitor. He is in literal despair and a huge depressive spiral, like as his parents convince him to keep working for AFO. Because, as it turns out, Yuga was also born quirkless, and his parents went to AFO to get him a quirk, which effectively forced him to be the mole and the traitor, so AFO would not kill him or his parents. It's very bad. It's very exploitative. It's very coercive. Our poor son.
Oh God, our poor baby. Poor Koshi. How dare you? Both for Aoyama and for us. Like,
how dare you rip our hearts out and just rip our hearts in half outside of our chest. Also, this is my very unnuanced take, but Yuga's parents can choke. I don't care. You can try and explain their situation. I don't care. I stand by it even from a few chapters later. They should have done more fucking research if they were so wealthy and privileged, but we'll get to it. Basically, they just didn't want to have a quirkless son. It was bad for him and bad for them and their image.
Yeah, I'm more pissed about that than I am about the traitorous aspect, honestly. Like, can't you just fucking accept your kid?
Yeah. no, and they can't. So they can choke, and they can choke twice for their bad outlook and their bad decisions. So Hagakure, like, once again, an infinite apology to her. She is my queen. I will never stop being sorry for my visceral hatred that y'all will hear in later episodes.
Oh man.
So basically, like, she hears all this going on and she knows what's going down. So she runs to find someone. She really is like going to like find a teacher or an authority figure. But she actually just runs into Izuku, who's out for a cool down walk after the training montage. And she fills him in and she brings him back to the Aoyamas, where Yugo just continues to break down because he hates being their betrayer, but he also doesn't want his parents to die. It's a very bad situation, and he's our son. So when they face each other, Yugo reveals that after Izuku left the note to 1A, like when he went off with Endeavor and All Might and had his adventure there, and then like after they went to bring him back because he needed his support system.
God, yeah. That feels like 8 million years ago.
It was 8 million years ago. That is a fact. 8 million exactly. Since then, Yuga has been in just despicable, utter despair. And he reveals like he just wanted to be equal to them, like how he was in the provisional license exam when he became the beacon for the rest of class 1A and everyone passed. Like he just wanted to feel that this whole time while he was at school. And then he reveals that he did pass on the USJ information and the information about the training camp. And he thinks of himself as a despicable villain, hence the chapter title. Also, the cheese episode was important after all. It wasn't a throwaway filler episode. God damn you, Horikoshi. The cheese. Basically, the cheese episode's importance was that, like, since at that point AFO was in prison, Yuga was basically begging Izuku to catch on and like take this burden off of him. But no, the cheese.
I'm pretty sure we remarked in an earlier episode that the cheese episode specifically is going to be nice and fun and low stakes. Remember when we thought that?
Yeah, I do.
Sobbing.
I'm much sobbing.
Oh God. Even to Horikoshi to take just an adorable, silly moment and then turn it into like the
knife in our ribs. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I don't even know where to begin. So I found out about this pretty much the same way as I did about Hagakure. I had known for days and was just like watching till both of y'all caught on. So I actually did kind of read this chapter because I'm a heathen and
you haven't read 200 chapters, but you'll read this one.
I like that. It's not the first time I've done something like this, but it was pretty bad. I am surprised I did not think of the unwilling traitor because it's actually a pretty good trope used in anime. So I am disappointed in myself.
Aww.
I mean, none of us saw it.
There were so many potential ways that could go, and we were going off of so little information that. Yeah, I don't think you need to be disappointed in yourself.
Nah.
But I am because I've seen it all. Anywho, now that I have wallowed in self-pity, as the Grinch would say, I do think that Aoyama's parents are fucked up because the poor boy did not deserve that. He basically in a hard place and a cliff. So fuck him. And all of the parents except Uchako's and Jiro's parents suck.
Yep.
They all
but
suck.
Inko is in a class unto her own, though.
Yeah, Inko is in her own class. Inko is a class of herself. But no, like from the get-go, those two sets of parents have been good. So the other parents should learn from them.
Yeah.
Also, Horikoshi. What Horikoshi did was really smart in the sense that all this time he made it seem like the traitor was a willing participant. So this just goes to show how brilliant this man is, but fuck you, Horikoshi.
Fuck your brilliance.
Yeah, fuck you and your ability to play with our emotions like this. How dare you?
How dare, but also thank you. All right. So we are moving along to chapter 337, which was titled A Disposable Life. And you're not disposable, Aoyama.
Oh God, that was so heartbreaking to read.
My heart, it still hurts thinking back on it. So in this chapter, we get a little more context on Aoyama's like the situation and the privileges that it afforded their family, which like gag, being wealthy and keeping up that image, not important at all. Basically, the Aoyama parents didn't want their son to be different and were in fact afraid of him being different. And just like the parallels to the experiences of queer folks, people of color, disabled people, and otherwise and intersectionally marginalized children of non-understanding parents is just several knives right in my heart. How dare the Aoyamas?
Yep.
They can choke. All right. So basically, Yuga still felt compelled to pay his parents' quote unquote kindness back because he's a child and he does not recognize how problematic his parents are. And like to do this, he did obey AFO's quote unquote requests for information on USJ and the location of the camp. And finally, his latest order was to basically lure Izuku somewhere alone. And with that final confession, Yuga like attempts to attack Izuku. And sure, you can kind of look at it as he's trying to follow that order. But also, I think he just can't bear Izuku looking at him with tears in his eyes because it's very sad.
Yeah, he's just in a bad mental state and he just does the first, it's like fight or flight response. It just kicked in at that moment.
Yep, exactly. So he like shoots him with his naval laser. And then Queen Hagakure, my queen. She deflects Aoyama's laser, and in the aftermath, because her invisibility is actually disrupted by that move, because it's all like photons, both her invisibility and his laser. It's all the same stuff. We actually get a face reveal, and she's beautiful, and she is a child, not an old lady like we were worried about. And she's pissed and upset with him, like more verbally than Izuku is. And basically, as she's yelling at him, Izuku uses that opportunity to like capture all three of them with Black Whip and take them.
He's like, no, we're done here. This is going nowhere. Just everyone shut the fuck up and come with me.
we need a breath and we need to go inside where the air conditioning is. Let's go.
Yep.
This is about like halfway through that chapter now. So we're now back with Detective Tsukauchi and the teachers. And we basically just learned the full extent of the coercion. And all the rest of the Class 1A is there to witness the rundown as well as Yuga's despair, because Yuga hates himself. But Izuku is in fact willing to forgive him and believes that he still can be a hero, especially since he saved Tokoyami at camp. He tried to save Bakugo with the same move, and he did try to leave an SOS to Izuku, but he left it in cheese, so it was hard to comprehend.
It really was.
Oh.
Like, it's okay, Izuku. Like, I would not have made the connection either.
Yeah, no, us neither. We saw nothing in all these chapters. We saw nothing. We had blinders on, honestly. So the chapter ends with Izuku reaching out his hand for Aoyama to take and says that he can still be a hero. And it's the hand reaching out to hand. It's the teamwork. It's wonderful. And also in that little moment, there is a couple panels with Katsuki's face, like in the scene. It's interesting, but also we don't really know right now what was going on in his head at that moment, even after chapter 338. Like he could be thinking through a lot of things. We theorized about it earlier. Also in this chapter, he's actually being like intuitive and emotionally helpful to Izuku after the reveal of Yuga's quirklessness. Like, good boy, he is growing.
So much growth, but he's still himself. I love him. That's another kudos to Horikoshi.
Yeah,
that I hate to give him, but he did so good.
He's an asshole, but he's wonderful at the same time. Like, how dare he be such a deep character? I love him, and how dare ad nauseum.
Yeah, I absolutely hate how much Yuga had to go through, but I am a huge sucker for redemption arcs of poor, sweet, innocent babies. So I'm looking forward to it. Also, he's a fucking child.
Yeah.
He's a teenager. He's 15.
How is he supposed to go against his parents and his friends? Like, he's stuck in the middle, having to deal with pressure from both sides. And all he wanted was just to be a normal child.
Our poor boy. So I think all of this to say before we start the last chapter is that none of us blame Aoyama.
No,
he is innocent
not.
in all of our eyes. And if you say differently, like, fine, but also we can't be friends. So
we respect your alternate interpretation. You have your conversation and we'll have ours. And we'll keep a respectful distance.
Yes, exactly. All right. So then the final chapter that is currently out is chapter 338. And this title hurt even more than the one with disposable in it. It hurt in a good way more as opposed to the last one, which hurt in a bad way.
Yeah.
It is titled The Story of How We All Became Heroes, Part 1.
Oh, my heart.
Oh, it's beautiful. But then, now that like everything is out in the open about what Yuga has had to do to survive, all of the adults in that room like suck. They suck. I don't even want to say they suck ass because that's a whole other thing, but they suck. Particularly Tsukauchi, who, as y'all might have heard, I don't know when we mentioned this in a previous episode, but we liked Detective Tsukauchi before this episode.
Oh yeah,
before
we've
this
made
chapter.
multiple comments about how hot he is.
Yeah, and that is now gone. We're not because he orders the cat officer Sansa to put a fucking muzzle on Yuga, and he does not let them hold hands. How?
We're not over the muzzle still. No. We're still, it's still incredibly disturbing.
We will never be over the fucking muzzle. And if y'all want to hear us yell about it even more, go listen to our latest Catch the Fuck Up because we're mad at it. But the chapter moves along, and it turns out that the kids, not the adults, the kids are willing to forgive Yuga and like move forward. And like seeing all this emotional despair, Denki, sweet boy Denki, even comes up with a whole thought for like using Yuga to get the battle to go in their favor. And this will also like serve to redeem Yuga in his own eyes. Because I don't think we think he needs like an external redemption, but he definitely needs to redeem himself for himself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I could see him having that mindset, which I wish Horikoshi would address, but he's probably just going to go the typical way.
Yeah. Well, we will have our headcanon, which is more correct. So it's not. So like, while the kids are being amazing, Present Mike is being sus, which I guess fine, he can be suspicious.
Well, that's also just his, like, the way his character is written too. Like, he's supposed to be the hot-headed one, and Aizawa is supposed to be the calm one.
Yeah, that's
so true. He's just a prisoner of characterization.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying like it's a bad thing. I'm just saying like he is more suspicious than the children, which is fine. We all have different reactions. Tsukauchi is still being fucking rude. I'm so mad at him, and I will never not be mad at him.
Yeah, his reaction is not justifiable.
No, not at all. And then Toshi, because Toshi is also there, he is not saying a fucking word. And I'm actually kind of mad at him thinking back on it because he's not doing anything to help the situation.
Well, maybe he just knows that the best thing to do is to let the students speak for themselves.
True, but also he could like tell Tsukauchi.
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, hopefully in chapter 339 he does something good. But yeah, I'm a little peeved at him. Anyway, so next, Ida and Kirishima like both step forward to speak on Yuga's behalf, and they still claim him as their friend, and they assure him that they wouldn't have thought less of him if he had told them that he began his life as Horkless like Izuku. And like obviously Yuga isn't convinced yet, but he's in his despair. We hope that he will pull himself out of the spiral soon, and that will be like what's coming next in the next few chapters.
Yeah, our babies, they're so good and sweet and kind, and I love them all so much.
So much.
I expect nothing less of our goodest children.
Yeah, they're so good. And honestly, like the reveal plot kind of ends there. Like as far as, of course, there could be another twist in the next chapter, because I would not put it past Horikoshi at this point. But as of right now, the Yue Traitor plotline is resolved. And then in the rest of the chapter, it continues with Aizawa finally piping up.
Yeah, they're setting up the next arc at the end of this chapter.
Yep, for sure. And like Aizawa is finally there because I was right and he was FaceTiming in. And y'all, I'm still riding that high of being absolutely correct. Anyway. So he reveals that like he has a plan and they will enact it soon, as Fern said, as this next arc begins. But we don't know what that plan is yet. Yuga is taken away into custody rudely, and the rest of the 1A kids go back to training for the final showdown with AFO and the League, and that's where we are.
Aizawa, you have never been sexier. That guy got so hot when his life fell apart. Like, damn, I need to move him up my spouse rankings because
you do.
That was pretty spectacular.
Yeah. He was amazing there. Also, the expulsion habit.
Oh goodness. Yeah. Who knew that would come back again? Again.
We thought it was over, but it's not. My heartstrings.
Yeah, it will probably never be over. But Aizawa is always coming in hot.
Yeah, hot in multiple ways in this.
Absolutely.
All right.
Hold on one second. I need to blow my nose.
Okay. So that ends our breakdown of the 3.5 chapters, not even 4. Dear Lord. That was so much and so few pages. All right. So the next we are going to we're gonna go through what I titled it as the Hagakure speculation station, because like we know it's outdated, we know they're like all wrong, but we had like a lot of good ideas, damn it. So basically, when we were left in like the end of chapter 335, we were left just like without any information on her motivations. So we came up with a bunch of theories, and like the one that seemed to be prevalent in the fandom was that she is like secretly like a full-ass adult, or at least not a teenager, and she was just being hecking predatory, living with a bunch of children. And like if she had been an old woman, get the fuck away from Ojiro. But she's not.
We all just would have vomited.
Yeah, we would, but she's not, so it's okay. And then the next one, which is actually Fern's favorite, so they're going to take this one. We were wondering, we as in we and the fandom, because it was on Twitter as well.
Yeah, I got this from a tweet, and then my brain just. But anyway, the high-end Nomu theory. Buckle up. Here we go. So my theory was that Hagakure was similar to number 6 in Vigilantes. So she's just kind of a blob, and like she's vaguely girl-shaped, but if you could actually see her, she wouldn't have any features. And my theory was that AFO like planted like a very stereotypical teen girl personality into her and kind of like built his own spy specifically to infiltrate UA. But then Hagakure goes to UA and she proceeds to be the worst spy in the history of spies because she's too busy learning like how to be a normal kid and making friends and having fun. But she still has to be a spy because of like compulsion or brainwash or something. Like AFO's manipulating her somehow. And then like her spy status gets leaked and Class 1A has to help Class 1A has to help her overcome the brainwashing with the power of friendship and love. Ojiro specifically played a very big part in this in my brain. And Hagakure gets to be a real girl and runs off into the sunset with her wonderful boyfriend and all her best friends. And like speaking of Hagakure and Ojiro, this is a complete non sequitur, but I just want to say like this really is the straight ship for queer people. Yeah. Like, you know how there are some queer ships that are clearly written by straight people? Like this is the opposite. This is just two good kids doing their best to navigate a world that's hostile to them because of things they can't control, and they find each other, and it's so cute and it's mutually supportive and lovely. And I really love it. And if this is the only canon ship we get, then I'll be happy with it. And honestly, I do consider it canon at this point.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's even like a side story that has not been released in English yet that literally has Hagakure kissing Ojiro on the cheek. So yeah, it's canon. It's basically canon. But yeah,
it's so cute.
yeah. And
I'm
just
glad that didn't happen because I didn't want Hagakure to go through all that. And I'm also sad because now Aoyama has to go through all that. But yeah, I had this whole thing in my head. It was
great.
It was a lot.
I'm still impressed that whole thing came out. And like, it was only just a few days before we got the next one. So good job.
Yeah.
Good job. All right. And then like, there's a couple other theories. The next one kind of sort of like the high-end Nomu theory was that she just was like a regular girl and she just happened to be like the worst spy that AFO could have picked. And she's just passing along ridiculous gossip and tea about the class. But she just turned out to just want to be like a real girl, like above, and did like the same triple agent flip that we foresee Aoyama possibly taking.
Yeah.
And then the next one I actually thought of was basically like, she comes from a family where their like whole shtick is like stealth and espionage and subterfuge because she is invisible. I thought she could even be like related to or descended from the flashlight baby because she's got that like photon manipulation thing going on. Maybe it still could be that, but also who knows or cares? We do, but we don't, because now we have to focus on Aoyama.
Yeah, we still want the flashlight baby to come back, and we're still really upset that it hasn't happened.
At this point, now that it's not Hagakure, we're probably not going to get it.
No, I don't think we are, but it's just a random detail that we've fixated on for absolutely no reason.
Yeah. All right. So kind of as the transition from the Hagakure speculation into Aoyama's like timeline, we did actually pick like out like a bunch of connections between Hagakure and Aoyama. Pickles, now is not the time. Get down. You're fine. You're a good girl. Okay, sorry. So basically, there was all these connections to Aoyama that we put together at the end of 335. Like, we were so close to the truth.
Oh my God, we touched on everything except the truth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, we were like poking every side of it without actually seeing it. So basically, our idea being like ours as the co-host, as well as coming out of the fandom, and we're going to try to find like all the sources I used and post them, but no promises. It's a lot. I think we will get a little slack because this reveal was so much. Anyway, so basically there was this idea that Aoyama had been following Hagakure around and like he knew that she was up to something. And like that was why he was always looking into camera. He was actually looking like at Hagakure, like maybe using some sort of photon connection between the laser and the visibility. Yeah, I know it's ridiculous now, but it worked like at the time. Like the connection was there. We were just looking at it the wrong way.
Yeah, we came up with something incredibly dumb instead of like the much easier explanation, which is that the person who's invisible is the one doing the eavesdropping. Like,
yeah, it's so obvious now. And like, we did also think that Aoyama was trying to tell Izuku that he knew who the traitor was in the cheese episode, and basically saying that it was Hagakure in the cheese. Again, incorrect, but it was good at the time. And also at the time that 335 ended, there were red herrings everywhere. People think that there are multiple traitors, and honestly, it could still come out that there are multiple traitors. We don't know.
I'm so tired just thinking about it.
I know. I don't want to ponder it, but also I do because it does give me dopamine. Anyway, we're going to go through Yuga's timeline, and this is like with a lot of help from the fan wiki. And also, if an arc goes unmentioned, it means that I didn't notice any connections or potential connections. So
God works hard, but wiki writers work harder.
God, that wiki is so great. We need to do all the sourcing on this. If nothing else, we need to like big block letters sourced from the wiki.
Yeah, we can do that. We can throw some money at them too.
Yeah, we should do that. All right. So Number 1, it is actually still technically unclear if he is booby-trapped like Lady Nagant was in the Vigilante arc following the war arc. If y'all don't know who Lady Nagant is, it's fine. She was booby-trapped, and they basically need to see if Aoyama is also booby-trapped. Go read the manga. Number 2, AFO did actually tell Aoyama to like try out and to enroll at UA because he like knew All Might was going there somehow.
Which makes me wonder if you like had any other ambitions or like anything else that he was considering. Like he went ahead and did it, but it mostly seemed like he was motivated by his parents' desire for him to be a hero and like his desire to conform.
What if he just wants to be a sommelier? Let the boy have his wine.
Right. Let him be a cheesemonger. Okay.
So then number 3, like after, like we know how Aoyama was like there at the entrance exam. That's that whole thing. So then the next point is USJ. He like first passed along the USJ information, like i.e. when they would be alone and remote from the rest of the school. But he like did not pass along very good information because he didn't want to be doing it in the first place. Like hence all of the intelligence holes that we were suspicious of that we go over in the season 1 episodes. And then I added a subpoint to that because I was actually listening to our season 1 wrap up again. And I realized that AFO could have been talking to Yuga through Kurogiri because they like never spoke directly, but somehow like Kurogiri could have always been there. The teleportation would have immensely helped with like the secret movements. And if Yuga handed the schedule for USJ directly to Kurogiri, like AFO like could have been with him. Like, you know, he could have been the go-between. And like same for the camp arc. So like maybe he had a burner cell phone, but it was always Kurogiri talking to him and not AFO. So
yeah, it would make sense for it to be Kurogiri because AFO doesn't move a whole lot, not unless he's forced to.
Right. And then this makes sense also because when Kurogiri was also captured around the time of the Shihisaikai arc, and apparently he was not broken out like with the other escapees. But I want to see if that like comes into play, if Kurogiri and Aoyama were connected in any way, especially since apparently Aizawa has been visiting Kurogiri or Oboro and like trying to get him to be a hero. I want to see if there's any connection there. Anyway, that was my tangent. So number 4, the shopping mall at the end of season 2. The fandom went a little bonkers thinking that Hagakure passed the mall plan to Shiggy. Like she suggested they go shopping and then like she told Shiggy where that whole thing. But it was like unclear if Aoyama did that or if it was just a coincidence. So
I think that was a coincidence, and I'll talk about that in a second.
All right. So then number 5 is the camp, which is like the second of the big 2. So he basically passed along their location to the league once it was determined where they are. Did he do it by phone? Or did he do it when he was shooting his laser off into the sky while they were training? We don't know. I just think it's interesting because if it was his laser shooting off into the sky, it'd be kind of nice if that was his villainous move and then it became a heroic move at the provisionalized exam. So
yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah. Anyway, during it, he like hid most of the time while he was quote unquote guarding Jiro and Toru, who were unconscious at this point. And then at the camp, he makes eye contact with Dabi. And that was like one of the big things that kept him on the suspect list because Dabi didn't do anything. But also it could have just been because Dabi didn't care because he's Dabi.
Yeah.
Or it could have been that Dabi didn't recognize him. But we're not really clear on that just yet. But then he did save Tokoyami by attacking Compress, and he almost saved Bakugo too. And that's regardless of if he told the league he would be easier to convert to the dark side after witnessing him being such a brat at the sports festival. We still don't know if there was any retribution for this betrayal or if it was like even reported back to Shiggy or AFO, because it might be that Dabi didn't even know that it was Aoyama who was the traitor at that point. So that's still a little murky.
Yeah, I was rereading some of these chapters and looking back on 335. I think the implication is that AFO didn't tell the League of Villains about the UA Insider at all. And like, this is the first time they are hearing about it. And so they're learning about all this information as we do. And like, honestly, like AFO's just got that kind of like all knowing annoyingness thing where he just gives you information and you don't really question where he got it because he just does that kind of shit all the time.
Yep.
And then also he's like definitely the type to keep his quote unquote tools separated from each other so they can't like interact or unionize or some shit. Like, you know, that bitch is anti-union. So I don't think the League of Villains in general really know anything about AFO's connections to UA. They just know he has them and they just accept it.
That's a good point. Yeah, I can definitely see that. All right. So next, after the camp, there was the Camino raid. Aoyama didn't know what Kirishima and the others were doing. Like, he didn't know that they were going to get Bakugo, so he could not have passed on that information to AFO. Yeah. But somehow, like, Tsukauchi seemed to think that the Aoyama adults knew that the Camino raid was happening. Like, there's a panel where he's talking to someone on the phone and he asks them why they didn't tell AFO about the raid. Like,
oh, well, I think the kids knew about the raid, but they didn't know, but Aoyama didn't know about the other kids going off to save Bakugo specifically, because everyone was like, leave it to the adults, leave it to the adults. They're going to go get him. Like, let them do their thing. If we try to interfere, it's going to go wrong. So they knew something was happening. So there was some information to pass on.
Okay. Thank you for clearing that up. Because for a second there, I was like, did Momo tell somebody that she wasn't supposed to? Because she knew, because she gave them the tracker. I don't know. It's all very murky. It was a long time ago, but it's fine. It's fine. All right. So then the next bit that I picked out, it's not actually pertinent to the Traitor plotline, but like in the tiny little dorm arc that they have, Aoyama's room is a fucking hall of mirrors.
Oh my God. Oh my God. There is no escape.
No.
Fucking mirror mallet. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Never escape.
No. Oh, I don't even know anymore. It's just so many mirrors. And then they were there. There were so much.
That's just ironic.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So then the next part was like basically following the Camino defeat of AFO and like during the provisional license arc. With AFO now in prison, Aoyama was free to like try to make up for what he did. And like he really revamped his training efforts. Like he really pushed himself into being a hero. And like during the provisional license exam, after he has this little cowardice moment, he does become a beacon for his classmates, like in those final moments. And it was the time where he did finally feel like he was their equal, especially while he was next to Tenya. And Tenya was like pushing him along.
Oh my God, I just have so many feelings.
So many feelings. For listeners, Fern's note there is just,
I had something to express, but I didn't know what it was. And I still don't. It's just a lot.
Yep. Exactly. And then during the remedial course arc, which is like the mini arc following the Shihasaikai arc, we do get the infamous cheese episode with the cheese, where Yuga leaves Izuku a message in cheese, and he reveals that he feels a kinship toward him because neither of their quirks seem well suited to their bodies. And this is when they become friends.
I'm just sobbing.
Yep.
Oh God.
We're going to cry during that episode.
Yeah, we were going to laugh our asses off at that episode, but now we're going to cry.
It was going to be so much fun. And now, oh God. Well, we've already talked about it, but
so then next is actually the Heroes Rising movie, which is like technically not an anime episode, but it's like, it's fine. And it is unclear if Yuga like had anything to do with those events, because like Nine and his gang seem to be doing all the work, even though they were working with Shiggy. Spoilers if you haven't seen that movie somehow. Like there wasn't any information that Nine got that he couldn't have got himself. So I don't see Yuga as being involved in that.
Yeah, I don't think he was working with Yellowby at all.
Yeah. like there was just some connection there that wasn't even fully explained, but it's fine because it was a great movie. And then the next thing is that during the Endeavor Agency arc, Yuga was working with Toru and Mina for their work studies. So they got to be better friends. And that is why they're both so sad and in the reveal.
Oh, God, poor Mina. Damn.
She's been friends and or teasing him since the very first season. So she's like feeling it for sure.
Oh, God.
All right. And now we're going to move from like the anime to the manga. So in the war arc, basically what Aoyama is doing, like he's in the squad that's like fighting the lieutenants and Gigantomachia. I don't know how to pronounce it yet. It's fine. Like it is unclear if he knew any information or passed along any information, since at this point AFO was technically still in prison and we still don't know for sure like who his contact was between the two. So I don't think there was anything going on there, but he was there doing stuff, but we don't think he was passing along anything there. And in this arc, Aizawa's expulsion habit is explained. And like I mentioned before, I just re-listened to it where we were so innocently mentioning it in the season 1 wrap up. And I am once again sobbing.
Oh God, there's just so many threads. There's so many threads. Everything is connected to everything else. He has to have like a whiteboard the size of a cafeteria wall or something. How is he keeping all of this straight?
He cannot possibly hold it all in his head. Just mind-boggling. So then the next bit is the Tartarus Escapees arc, which I think is like the official term for the arc because that's how the wiki names it. And basically this is when AFO does break out of the prison, and it's also Deku's angst adventure, which we call it in one of the episodes. I don't even know if that episode is out yet, but it's his angst adventure. And like at the end of that, Class 1A gets Deku to come back to school to like calm down. And Yuga does help Izuku get back to UA, but he's also like the only one who doesn't offer words of comfort in that montage. And like the timeline of when AFO reaches out to the Aoyamas again to order him to lure Deku away is unclear at this point. So we like don't know when exactly AFO got back in touch, but it seems to be.
Well, maybe he wasn't using Kurogiri.
Yeah, it was like he could have been using Kurogiri before, but now he's doing something different. Like it could go so many different ways, y'all. I need like an explicit confirmation from Horikoshi. Bullet points, spreadsheets. I need it. I'm pretty sure we're not going to get it, but it's fine. So it seems to be at least confirmed that this latest order came to the Aoyamas after Izuku was back from his time away. And this is also the last order that Yuga does not want to follow because, like, unlike USJ and the camp, he's now Izuku's friend. And, like, he can't keep those two parts of himself separate anymore. And then, like, the last point of the timeline, as of chapter 338, Yuga is taken away into custody and probably for that physical exam to see if he's booby-trapped. And Aizawa's plan will play out soon. Also, it was pointed out on TikTok that Aoyama's capture by Izuku was actually very similar to how Izuku caught Gentle Criminal, which I hate that they're drawing parallels because I just hate that.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Those are very different situations. Sorry, I disagree.
It's okay. We can respectfully disagree. It's fine. I did actually write down the username for that person, so we will put them in the sources.
Yeah, can you send me that? I want to take a look at that.
Yeah, I think I saw.
Because I want to see what exactly the parallels that they draw are.
Sure, I'll send it. And then finally, we just have a couple more things, y'all. We have first and foremost the apologies corner. Because in the season 1 wrap-up episode, we did actually make a list of suspects, and I feel like now we have to apologize to them.
It was a very funny list.
Oh, y'all, it's funny. Just y'all are gonna be giggling just like we were. So I have to apologize to Vlad King, to 13, of course, to Hagakure. Also, Denki, even though I personally wasn't like really sold on Denki, he was just like a compelling possibility. Also, sorry to Snipe, because those are like my big ones. Also, I apologized to Aoyama, and actually like didn't think he was the traitor. Like he was not in he wasn't really in my suspect shortlist. He was just grouped with Denki in my head because they were both kind of compelling. I never really thought that Aoyama was the traitor.
Yeah, I think we all just went, nope.
Nope, not him.
Absolutely not.
And to repeat myself for Fern's benefit, sorry, 13.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I guess I forgive you for besmirching my wife's good name.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. I do want to say that I will not apologize to Nezu because I still think he's fucking suspicious. Like if he's not another traitor, he's still just not cool. So I'm not apologizing. And now I entreat our listeners to apologize to Denki.
Mm-hmm.
The L sign that he uses, that Rodestero also uses, that like could mean anything. I had a whole theory list of what's going on there, but it doesn't matter now because it's not Denki and it never was Denki. So apologize.
Yeah, we don't even know if the same person drew both of those panels. There are multiple artists involved in this manga creation. Like, I still think it's pure coincidence.
Yeah, it could be coincidence. It could be something else entirely, but he's not the traitor. He never was. All right. So our last section is basically just like looking forward, what we think and infer is going to happen in the next 2 chapters as this final year of the manga plays out. Number 1, Yuga will be redeemed, even though he does not require redemption because he is also a victim. I do think he needs a redemption arc for his own mental well-being. He needs to do something that will help his friends to redeem himself to himself, not to be redeemed in other people's eyes. Or at the very least, poor kid just needs some fucking therapy.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. I think he will help to start the battle on the hero's terms, but I hope they do not use him as bait, which they could honestly do. And like we'll see. And like after everything that goes down, he may be punished in a court of law, but I like also hope that Aizawa will speak on his behalf and any punishment will be commuted because he was coerced. We'll see. Also, I foresee that he will enjoy the concert with the others, hopefully. Also,
yeah, are we having the concert or not, Horikoshi? What the fuck?
We don't know. I need the concert. I don't care when it happens. I just need it. But I wonder, since the Aoyama reveal has also revealed like a lot of repeating plot points that Horikoshi likes to use, the original concert was at the end of the season and at the end of the arc. So I wonder if, again, it's going to be like the final finale to the so we'll see. They just need to have it and everyone needs to be there. Everyone needs to survive. Horikoshi, are you listening to me? No one dies. No one else. We've had enough death. And finally, my last God I hope not thought is, are there multiple traitors? We still don't know.
I don't think there are because he seems to have wrapped up this arc fairly neatly. And then typically once he wraps up an arc, he's generally done with it.
Yeah, but this could be like the one twist he makes to that pattern. And we're not going to know.
I think he's just destroyed all of our faith. I think we're all so embarrassed that we were fooled so easily that now our guard is just crazy up.
That's true. That's also true. But we're not going to find out either way for a while. So
Horikoshi,
thanks.
please let us be done with this.
No.
Thank you. My heart can't take anymore.
Oh, he won't.
No more traitors. No more traitors. I'm done.
Y'all did good. I'm proud of you. But
Thank you.
What I'm looking forward to is knowing what's going on in the chapters without reading. Sorry, not sorry. And watching y'all's visceral reactions. I will say that all in all, the fact that Hagakure wasn't the traitor, but Aoyama, it was still devastating, and I should have seen it coming.
I know. I feel like we just missed the entire point of all the breadcrumbs. We
really did.
It was right in front of our faces, and we did
so
not
close.
see it.
Oh man,
well.
It's really funny in hindsight.
I will most definitely probably have a stronger reaction once it's animated versus the manga. It's happened before. I'm looking at you, Fairy Tale.
Aw.
But I'm also looking forward to the other plot twists that Horikoshi brings upon the fandom, because I love and I live for how freaked out they all get.
I know.
This is a really
10 out of
reactive
10.
fandom.
It is. And like I will admit I am like very freaked out. But also like after the freak out, I personally like to look back at myself freaking out, be like, damn, he did that. He did that so good. So I like the freak outs because it also means I can appreciate the creators even more.
Yeah.
So final comments, anyone? Are we just tired like me?
Yeah, really tired. Head kind of hurts. Maybe a sprinkling of dread.
A heart.
Yeah. I feel the dread in my knees right now for some reason.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be here.
Yeah, Maria's just
watching all
along
of
for the
this.
ride. And honestly,
Pretty
I kind of envy that, but also I love the roller coaster in hindsight. I don't like it when it's happening, but I love the hindsight.
For
I'm
sure,
just here
for sure.
to give you encouragement and like tell you everything will be okay.
Yep. All right. Well, welcome to 2022, listeners. This has been My Hero Analysis. You'll hear us soon. And in the meantime, go beyond plus ultra and know that you are not disposable and you can always have a second chance. Bye, y'all.
Thanks again for listening. If you'd like to get in contact with us, have questions you'd like us to discuss on air, give topic suggestions for bonus episodes, or submit fan art for us to display, visit our website at myheroanalysis.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Just search for @myheroanalysis. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review.